I still remember how I found We Are the World. I was browsing random YouTube videos when one of their videos popped up in my recommendations. Bored and curious, I moved the mouse over to it and clicked play. As the video loaded, I yawned, scratching at the stubble on my chin. I blinked sleepily as the video turned blue. There was a whooshing soundbite as an image of the earth flew into the middle, ringed by smiling children, all holding hands. All of them were white and wearing red shirts. The video cut to an image of a man smiling, sitting in a chair. He was old, hair and beard white, face lined by wrinkles, but he smiled like he was the happiest thing in the world. The red shirt on his chest matched the pants he wore. I waited for him to do something. Anything. Talk or crack a joke. For a solid minute, he just sat there, smiling. I could see his chest rising and falling as he breathed, but looking at his eyes, I felt a pit form in my stomach. His eyelids hadn't even twitched for the entire minute. I was about to check the timestamp when the video suddenly turned to static. A loud audio crashed, hitting my ears. I groaned, about to remove the earbuds, when the video resumed. Now it was a bunch of kids, all white, all in red, running around playing, laughing.
"Hello,"
said a gentle, feminine voice.
"and thank you for being here today. We Are the World welcomes you to this seminar."
The camera panned away from the kids to a group of smiling adults, an immaculately beautiful woman directly in the center of them. Long locks of brown hair fell down her sides, framing the red robes she had on, fitting her voluptuous form perfectly. Her smile was pleasant and gentle. Her eyes seemed to stare into my soul. I wouldn't have noticed the smiling old man behind her if my eyes hadn't darted away from the woman out of my mild curiosity. I felt myself freeze when I saw him standing there, completely still, smiling.
"Don't be alarmed,"
the woman said, drawing my attention back to her.
"Please, listen to what I have to say."
She began walking forward, bare legs parting her robes.
"Do you feel cold?"
No, I answered jokingly.
"Scared? Confused?"
The woman continued to say, not noticing my answer.
"Would you like to feel peace and harmony?"
Oh God, I muttered. This is a cult video. Directly after I said that, the woman's smile grew wider, like she heard a good joke. She held out a slim hand and beckoned to the camera.
"Come, let me show you harmony."
The camera cut to a cabin, clearly recently built. A family of black people were standing out front, looking around nervously. The woman walked into the frame gracefully, that serene smile on her face arresting the family's attention.
"Hello,"
she said to them.
"Are you ready?"
The father glanced to who I assumed was his wife, then nodded.
"Do not be afraid.
The woman continued.
It will not hurt. You will be made pure. Come and follow me."
The woman held out her hands, and the mother and father tentatively took them. Slowly, she led them and the kids up the cabin steps and into the building. When had that door opened? The moment that door closed, the old man walked into the frame and sat on the front steps, facing the camera, still smiling. I looked at his eyes, but he still didn't blink. 10 seconds passed. When the door opened, the woman came out first, then a family of white people, all wearing red shirts, all smiling. My eyes narrowed. Okay, is this implying?
"Are you all made pure now?"
The woman said, Turning to the family, they nodded, smiling widely at each other. The old man wouldn't stop looking at the camera. The woman turned to it and spoke.
Purity,
She said,
can only be found through realizing we are the world. All things must come to we are the world. Only then may there be peace.
I wasn't paying attention to what she said, instead, looking at the family. As I studied them, I felt the slightest hint that something was wrong here. The shape of their faces all matched the black family I'd seen before. I leaned in closer to the screen, trying to understand what I was watching, when there was another burst of static, and the screen changed again. Audio crash stinging my ears. The scene was in a large plain wooden building. It was nighttime, and I could see it full of sleeping people. Men, women, children, all huddled together in one mass, without blankets or pillows, some on top of the others. I leaned in closer to the screen when a light came on overhead. My eyes were instantly drawn towards it, then widened. There was the woman again, in a space without a single person on the floorboard, and she was naked, completely and utterly naked. She was sitting on the floor, legs crossed, and in her lap, face first, was the unmistakable form of the old man, his head between her thighs. I was about to click out when the woman hummed into my ear softly, not through the headphones. Then I noticed how the old man was completely still, breathing in and out, like he was sleeping. "What the fuck?" I said softly. The next 30 seconds were devoted to this image, with no one moving a muscle, save the woman, who stared right at the screen. Her pink lips were framed in a smile that begged to be kissed. I could feel an erection forming in my trousers. It painfully pushed up against the fabric, begging to be let out. When the screen changed, it was of a bedchamber, covered in red drapes and with a red carpet. Everything about the empty bed was red, from the pillows to the blankets. The camera remained focused on it, slowly zooming in until it was right on a single pillow. In the pillow, something moved, then it stopped. Another static, and the screen changed to a forest clearing, where the woman was sitting in the exact center. On every tree around her were scraps of paper. The camera zoomed in on one of them, and my heart stopped. It was of a missing child. The date was yesterday, Wednesday, December 26, 2019. I watched We Are the World a year ago. As the camera lovingly panned onto the different pieces of paper, my heart raised as I realized each one was dated for this year, the year I'm writing this now. Each one for a different date, marked on the specific day of the week that person went missing. Then the camera zoomed out and focused on the smiling woman. She stood up and slowly walked towards it, smiling, remaining pleasant and gentle as the camera backed away from her, slowly. The screen cut to black. I stared, dumbfounded, thinking this had to be some sick prank. When the screen came back on, my heart stopped. It was my front door. I immediately sprang up from my seat and raced towards it, making sure it was locked before peeking out the window. There, sitting on the concrete path leading up to my house, was the same old man from the video, smiling with his legs crossed under him. He wasn't holding a camera. His head sharply turned to the window, I ducked behind the curtains, then raced back to my computer, ready to close down the YouTube tab, when I saw what was playing. The camera turned sharply to me, staring out from the window, before disappearing behind the curtains. That clip replayed itself over and over until I finally pulled out the phone and turned to the door. "Fuck off! Or I'm calling the cops!" There was a burst of static from my earbuds and I turned back to the screen. It was the image I'd seen at the start, but with one key difference. My scared face, expression, a perfect match for when I'd seen the old man, had replaced the earth. Then the video ended and YouTube closed. I called the cops, but they didn't believe me. I tried to check the security cameras for the front, but nothing was there. Not even a sign of tampering, and I couldn't find the video in my history on YouTube. I've tried to put it past me since then, until yesterday, when there was an Amber Alert for a missing person. I gulped as I opened it, as I examined the picture of a smiling black child in a pair of overalls. I couldn't help but notice the pin she was wearing. It was the logo of We Are the World.